Hey everyone, welcome back to Scary Stories Podcast. I'm Lisa and I'm so excited because today we have something really special planned for you guys.
Yeah, we definitely do.
First of all, I've got my partner in crime here, Valentin, and I also have someone super special with me today, Laura. One of my absolute best friends is here with us.
Hi everyone, I'm Laura and I am so excited to be here. When Lisa asked me to join, I just couldn't say no.
And trust me, you picked the perfect day to join us. Because the story I've got lined up is, well, it's pretty intense.
Oh God, you're already making me nervous. Is it really scary?
Let's just say. It involves an abandoned asylum and some really, really strange things that happened on the third floor.
Wait, did you say asylum? I'm already getting chills.
Me too. This is a follow-up story to the one I had prepared for the last episode. It's the same asylum, and there were more creepy stories that happened there. So we decided to dive into another one from the same location. And, knowing Valentin, this is going to be absolutely terrifying. But I guess we should probably just dive right in, right?
Oh yeah, and trust me, you're going to want to keep the lights on for this one. So, this story takes place at Blackwood Asylum, just like the last one, and it's like one of those places that just, it has this really dark energy about it, the kind of place that, even during the day, just feels wrong.
Oh God, I already don't like where this is going. And at the same time, I'm really excited.
So right, the story starts with this guy who works there as a gardener and housekeeper and whatever small jobs they offered him, and he had this really strange experience in the abandoned wing of the asylum. He couldn't shake this feeling that something was watching him.
Watching him? What do you mean?
Well, you see, he tried to, tell himself it wasn't real, right? That it was just, one of those things where people love to make up ghost stories about old buildings and stuff. But the thing is, what he saw in that window was definitely real.
Wait, what did he see in the window?
Well, that's the thing that really got to him. He couldn't really explain it, but he just knew that whatever it wasn't supposed to be there. It was more like a spirit or a feeling that something kept watching him. And, the whole experience it really shook him up,
Oh, this is some good stuff. You know how you sometimes feel what someone is watching you and you look up and there is actually someone staring at you?
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. But here's the thing. What happened in the abandoned wing and whatever was watching him, that was nothing. Nothing compared to what he experienced later. Because a few weeks after that first incident, something happened that, it would change everything he thought he knew about that place.
Oh no.
And trust me, when I tell you what happened next, you're going to understand why this place has such a reputation. Because the thing about Blackwood Asylum is that too. The deeper you go into its history, the darker things get. And the third floor, that's where the darkest things happened. So, a few weeks after that first incident, right, the guy got asked to do this job that, nobody, and I mean nobody wanted to do. They needed someone to move all this old furniture from the third floor of the asylum.
The third floor? What was up there?
That's the thing. The third floor was, completely shut down for decades. They used to keep the high-risk patients up there, before everything at the asylum just went downhill. And eventually, the state they just closed it off completely.
And they just left everything up there?
Yeah, exactly. All these old metal bed frames and cabinets and all this creepy medical equipment, just sitting there collecting dust for years and years.
And that guy who kept experiencing all these weird things had to go up there by himself?
No. He had one coworker with him, but here's the really creepy part. When they were getting ready to go up there, one of the staff members, they straight up told him, "Nobody goes up there. You're braver than me."
Oh God, I would not have gone up there.
And when they got up there, it was just, the atmosphere was so heavy, there were no working lights at all. Just these tiny, dirty windows at the end of this long hallway that let in this really weak light. And the air, it was thick with dust and there was this smell.
What kind of smell?
Like rust and something else. Something really sour. And his coworker, right, he looks around and goes, "Smells like something died in here."
Stop, I literally can't.
And the thing is, the way they described it, it wasn't just the smell or the darkness. It was like the whole place felt wrong. Like they were somewhere they really, really weren't supposed to be. And everything up there was just covered in this thick layer of dust. Like no one had disturbed anything for years.
But they still had to move everything out?
Yeah, that was the plan. And that's when things started getting really, really weird. So they're up there working, right? Moving these heavy old cabinets toward the stairwell in complete silence. And then they start hearing something really strange.
Oh no, what was it?
At first, it was just this really faint creaking sound coming from above them. And the thing is, there wasn't supposed to be anything above them, you know? Like, this was the top floor.
Wait, so where was the sound coming from?
That's exactly what they were thinking. And his coworker just completely freezes. And he's like, you hear that? And before the guy could even answer, the sound, it started getting louder.
What did it sound like?
Like footsteps. Like slow, really deliberate footsteps just pacing right above their heads. And the guy, he looks at his coworker and the coworker just shakes his head and says, there's no attic up there. It's just rafters. If something was walking up there, we'd be able to see it through the cracks.
Oh my God.
And then they both just stop working, you know? They're just standing there, listening to these impossible footsteps, and then everything goes quiet.
That's even worse somehow.
Right? And then, after this really long silence, they hear this deep, slow creaking sound coming from the far side of the room. Now, and the way the guy described it, it wasn't like random settling noises or anything. It was like someone shifting their weight.
Or moving closer?
Exactly. And then the temperature in the room just drops. Like suddenly they could see their breath, and that's when they heard it.
Heard what?
This whisper. Just this faint whisper drifting through the empty hall.
What did it say?
They didn't stick around to find out. They just ran. But that's when things got even worse. So they both just bolt for the stairwell, right? And the guy grabs this old rusty handle and pulls, but nothing happens. The door, it just wouldn't open.
No way.
Yeah, and his coworker starts yanking on it really hard, like shaking the whole frame. But it's completely locked. And the thing is, when they came up there, the door was definitely unlocked. You know what I mean?
Oh God, they were trapped up there.
And that's not even the worst part. Because right then, they hear this weird sound behind them.
What kind of sound?
Like this soft shuffling noise, just like bare feet moving across the floor. And they're both just standing there, completely frozen. They don't even dare turn around.
Just imagine being up there trapped with a mad ghost. Ugh.
So the guy, his hands are shaking so bad, but he manages to grab his radio. And he tells his supervisor that they're stuck up there. And at first there's just static. And then the supervisor comes back and says something that just makes everything so much worse.
What did he say?
He asks them, who else is with you? Because he could hear someone else breathing on the radio.
No. Oh, please no.
Yeah, and then they hear it too, this long, shuddering breath, and the coworker just completely loses it. He starts throwing himself against the door, like slamming into it over and over until it finally bursts open.
They got out?
Yeah, they practically fell down those stairs trying to get away. And when they get to the bottom, their supervisor is standing there, and his face is just completely white. And he tells them they're not the first people who've gotten locked up there. Obviously, the guy, he couldn't sleep at all that night. Like, he just kept thinking about everything that happened, you know?
Oh God, I wouldn't be able to sleep either after something like that. But honestly, if they already knew that people get stuck up there, it was not the first time someone went upstairs. Why would they send someone up again? Like, why?
Yeah, probably it was decades ago and there were rumors about it. But at some point, people are like, we really need to get the stuff down so that we can use that room again or something like that, you know?
Yeah, probably. I don't know, people are crazy. I would not go up there in a million years. Anyways, the guy said that the noises they heard really freaked them out at the end because they sounded closer and closer.
What do you mean?
Well, the way the floorboards creaked at the end, it wasn't like someone just walking around anymore. It was more like whatever was up there was deliberately stepping closer to them.
That's absolutely terrifying.
And the thing is, there's been other stories about that third floor since then. Like, other workers have reported similar things happening to them. But nobody really talks about it, you know?
So the asylum just keeps sending people up there? Haha, honestly, that's just crazy at this point.
Well, they kind of have to. Like, they need to maintain the building and everything, but now they never send anyone up alone now. And even then, people have reported hearing those same footsteps, that same breathing sound.
I don't think you could pay me enough to go up there.
And here's the really creepy part. Some people say that whatever's up there, it's getting more active, like the incidents are happening more frequently. And the encounters are getting more intense, you know what I mean?
That's honestly so unsettling. Like, what if whatever's up there is getting stronger? Or that spirit simply wants no one up there?
Yeah, and that guy, he still works there actually, but he absolutely refuses to go anywhere near that third floor, he says. He says sometimes, when he's working late, he can hear things moving around up there, like it's waiting for someone else to come up.
Oh my God, that's honestly one of the scariest stories we've had on Scary Stories podcast.
I literally have goosebumps right now, like actual goosebumps.
Yeah, and you know what's really interesting? People still work at that asylum to this day, right? And they just kind of accept that the third floor is off limits now.
I mean, after hearing all of that, I totally get why.
The part about the radio, that really got to me, like something actually breathing into it. I don't think I'll be able to sleep tonight.
And the thing is, the guy still thinks about it sometimes, you know? He says he can feel eyes on him whenever he passes by that stairwell.
Okay, I think that's enough nightmare fuel for one episode. My heart is literally racing right now.
Same here. But I have to say, as terrifying as it was, these are exactly the kind of stories I love about this podcast.
Well, we definitely have more where that came from.
Thanks so much for joining us today, everyone. And special thanks to Laura for being here with us.
Thanks for having me, even if I might need to sleep with the lights on tonight.
Until next time, everyone, maybe check twice that your doors are locked tonight.
And maybe avoid any abandoned buildings, especially the third floor.
See you all in the next episode of Scary Stories Podcast.